I supported them, whatever they wanted to do. You need to hold yourself accountable. Have somebody hold you accountable. That's what a wife's for, right? It's the hardest thing in parenting, period, end of story. Because a dream's not going to come after you. Go for it.
All right, welcome to the Rad Dad podcast. This is episode 29. I have my good friend Kelly Devenish here. Thanks for being on. Kelly, we've kind of known each other for probably about a decade.
It's been that long?
Yeah, Katie and I are coming up on 10 years of marriage. So, I know.
Wow.
I know, it's been a while, but just in the last few years, we've actually been able to spend some time together on the dirt bikes and stuff, and it's been awesome. So I'm glad to have you on. Just to start out the podcast, tell me about your upbringing and a few highlights of your childhood.
Upbringing, well, I was born in Provo, Utah, in the Provo Hospital in 1971.
Ooh, you're dating yourself.
Then lived in Springville till I was about 10, maybe 11. Then we moved to beautiful Wyoming. My dad used to work at Geneva.
Okay.
Still. And then in 82, about 82, the big layoff. Then you got a job at the power plant, Naughton Power Plant, outside of Kemmer, Wyoming. You're kind of familiar with that country.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. I lived there till I was a senior. Then my dad got transferred to Huntington, Utah.
Okay.
But I stayed up there with my friends. My real good friends' parents said, no, you can stay here and finish school out, which was great.
So they moved right before you finished high school then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
So talk to me about growing up in the backwoods of Wyoming.
Best place
Before
ever.
the internet.
So fun.
Yeah.
We couldn't be doing this though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a different world when you cross that border. Still is today.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think it's changed much up there. We go up there, try to go there every year for the festival days in Kemmer. And it's grown a little bit, but still, it's nothing like here.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I always say you get into the mountains driving there, and it's just God's country, you know.
It is God's country.
It's a little greener. The sky's a little more blue, you know.
The winters aren't so fun.
No. The winters are more white, that's for sure. Colder. Talk to me about what you observed growing up in your dad. Some qualities that you noticed from a young age where you're like, that's how I want to be. That's what I want to do.
Growing up with my dad, he was a great provider for the family. He always worked hard. I don't ever remember not having what we wanted. The necessities, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't rich by any means, but
yeah,
he was a great provider. Always worked. He was a welder, mechanic. So those trades are kind of a thing of the past, it seems like now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a good provider. And my mom was actually an entrepreneur. I want to bring my mom up. Is that all right?
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
It's a rad dad thing, but...
Well, moms make good dads, right?
Yeah, so that's where I became an entrepreneur. My first job was a paper route at 11 years old, which sucked in the winter up there.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, probably when I was I was probably 14. The summer when I was 14, the shaved ice huts were real popular in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my mom built one in Wyoming, and it was great. And I just worked for her at the time. And then she said, well, why don't you just take it over? And you pay for all the electrical bill, the rental where it's at, you know, all the ice, all the cups, and you keep the profit. And I'm thinking, I want to do that. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I made a lot more money when she was just paying me.
So that's really cool because from a young age, you learned how to manage margins and inventory and
yes,
probably employees Did you have it?
I
Or were you
didn't
a
want to deal
one-man-
with that.
One-man band?
It was a one-man band.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it was a town of, what was the population then? It was almost same as Elevation, so about 7,000 people.
Okay.
So it was real easy.
So growing up, what did your family do to spend time with each other?
We would hunt and fish.
And what do you do now to spend time with your kids?
Hunt and fish and ride dirt bikes.
Yeah. You added that one in. Awesome. Well, I want to hear a little bit of your story about like becoming a dad and the feelings you had, maybe the doubts and fears that you experienced becoming a dad.
Becoming a dad was one of the greatest things in my life, but one of the scariest things in my life.
Yeah.
Because my boy, my youngest now, he is 20. And he was born with microtia, is what it's called. It was a birth defect on his ear. He still has an ear canal, but he didn't have his outer ear.
Mm-hmm.
Actually has an ear canal, but it's blocked off. And so when you have I was 20. No, that wasn't my firstborn. My firstborn was
your
Jamie.
last born.
That was my last one. Yeah, my youngest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, that made me real nervous though, right?
Yeah,
I already had 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
2 girls. And though that went great, except the second one, I thought my wife was going to have Courtney in the truck. And we had a doctor that we liked up in Salt Lake. So I had about not quite an hour drive, probably 45 minutes. Probably made it in 30. So yeah, that was, the girls were great.
How old were you when you had your first kid?
I was 27. 27, yep.
I feel like for me, at least when I was 27, I thought, hey, I'm 27. I got stuff figured out. I had my first kid at 28. I thought I had stuff figured out until that baby came along, right? And that shakes up your whole world.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't imagine having a girl first because I know how to handle boys, but
yeah.
a girl, I can't imagine having a girl first. How did you?
Well, you should learn how to handle boys if you have a girl, because the boys show up all of a sudden when they get older.
That is true. Yeah, that is very true. So what makes you, or what did you do to become a good girl dad? Because you're like this outdoorsman, you hunt and fish. You've obviously involved your family in that, but like, what did you do to connect with your girls?
I supported them, whatever they wanted to do. Okay. They wanted to hunt. They like to hunt. But then I'll go, if I can just step forward a little bit.
Yeah.
I adopted my boys, my brother's kids when he was killed in a car wreck. Okay. And he had a boy and a girl. And my 2 girls with Jessica, they liked to hunt and everything. But then Libby came in the picture, my brother's daughter, and she didn't want to hunt. Which I'm like, really? This is a hunting family. You don't want to hunt? Which was fine. So I just supported what she wanted to do. So she was on drill team and stuff like that. Okay. So we just supported her and it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
So I just say support what they want to do.
I love it. I want to pick your brain more about bringing those 2 kids into your family, because that's a huge decision and a huge weight on your shoulders.
Yes.
Can you talk to me a little bit more about the process of you and Jessica making that decision?
Yes, it was a big decision. It wasn't a hard decision. Let's put it that way. It was a no-brainer.
You knew,
of course,
yeah.
I'm going to take my brother's kids.
Right.
No questions asked. And Jessica was the same way. Boom, they're in. Did it have an effect on a blended family, right? Yes, it did. We already had 3 kids. And we have 3 kids already. What's another 2? Yeah.
And how old were they, Libby and Cade?
When we took them, they were 8 and 11, if I remember correct, right around there. Their dad died when they were 4 and 7. So it was a few years after.
Okay.
They were still living with their mother.
Okay.
But then she wanted to move. And I'm like, I've moved before when I was young. It's not fun. And yeah, so she said, what can we do with them? I'm like, we'll take them. They can stay here in Utah. And then I would take them and they would see her and stuff. So
was there ever a moment or an experience where you're like, this is just hard? Like having a blended family. I've had other people on the podcast that have had a blended family, and there's just unique trials that come with it.
Yep. I think it was hard because they were young, right?
Yeah.
And they lost their dad.
Yeah.
I don't think if being that young, especially 4 and 7, I don't think they can really comprehend what really happened. That's young.
Yeah. It's hard to process that.
Hard to process, yes.
But they are old enough to have their own opinion.
Yeah.
Personalities, interests.
Right.
Were you able to pick up on all that and make a connection with them right off the bat, or was it kind of?
Do you know what? We've always had that good connection because we always with them anyway.
Right.
We're a real tight family, still are.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it was a little tough. You know, with our kids, we're kind of like, and just all of a sudden there's 2 more kids in the family, right? The hardest part probably was the living situation, right? The bedrooms. Because I'd bought a house that my mom had built. He was only 5 years old. But we didn't have enough bedrooms for all the kids, right? We just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So they were sharing rooms, which was okay, but not great. And then, about 10 years after that, we built a new home in Mapleton. We lived in Springville at the time, built a new home in Mapleton, behind my wife's parents' property right there.
Yep. And
so we built a house. Everybody had a room. But then all of a sudden, the kids got older. You know?
Yep.
All of a sudden, the oldest one moved out. And now we only have... Yeah, we only have 1 kid living at home now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a little while.
You guys are close to empty nesters.
Because that was in 2001 when my brother... So when we took the kids, it was a few years after that, but it's been a while.
Gotcha. Talk to me a little bit more about Tristan. Like, did you find out during the pregnancy that he had?
No.
Okay.
No. When he was born, I remember the doctor came in and said, I don't remember how he worded it, but I'm like, I don't know, what's wrong? What's wrong?
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm like, what's wrong? And he said he said the name of it, microtia. I believe that's how you say it. I'm like, that sounds bad. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
He goes, he's just, his ear, his one ear is not there. Okay. Not life-threatening, right? No. So then when he was 5, we had it. They did they took went in his ribs and then made an ear. Took some skin grafts off of him. Made an ear. And then they said, he has an ear canal, but it's blocked. But we can go in there and open it up. But there could be a chance that we could hit a nerve that might make his face kind of droop a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And Jessica and I opted out on that. Said, no, maybe when he's old enough to make the decision, that he can have it done. He can hear through it. It's kind of like putting your finger right
Kind
there.
of muffled.
He can hear better than me with it.
That's not hard.
So yeah, you can still tell the ear,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I was kind of a little disappointed in what the plastic surgeon said it would be and what it turned out to be. But that's pretty much all surgeries. So
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. Tristan's happy. He's, it's good.
Yeah.
He can hear through it.
Yeah. It's scary. So we have a newborn, 8 weeks old right now. And for me, at least during the pregnancy, both my kids, in the back of my head, there's always that little thing like, what could go wrong? Is something going to go wrong? Am I prepared? How am I going to handle it? But in the end, when the child is born, it does not matter. Right. Because they're here.
Yep.
It just doesn't matter. So yeah, I catch myself worrying a lot, but in the end, it's like, none of it matters. You're going to do the best you can anyway, So Kelly Devenish, the hunter, the dirt bike rider, the fisherman, the outdoorsman, Mr. Tough Guy.
You can just sum it up with Redneck.
Mr. Tough Guy Redneck. There's no way you could ever fight with self-doubt or fear, right?
Right.
You've never felt that.
Yeah, right.
Has there ever been a time during fatherhood or an experience where you felt pretty doubtful of yourself or your ability to be a dad?
Yeah, well, there's probably been several times. I'm not going to lie, yeah. And have I made mistakes? Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Where's the balance in letting your kids see that, yes, we do make mistakes and this is how we handle it, and showing them that you do have a weakness, and where's the balance between that and then showing them how strong you are and maybe hiding the full truth from them?
Do you know what? When I've made mistakes or how I've maybe treated people before, sometimes you just get angry. You're like,
yeah,
why are they doing that? And then you need to hold yourself accountable. Have somebody hold you accountable. That's what a wife's for, right?
Yeah. They're so good at it too.
And then I will go to my kids and say, I'm sorry. I messed up. I might use a other word than that, but I messed up. And that's not right. And I'm sorry. So that's, yeah.
So going back to the whole hunting thing, what lessons have you learned in the outdoors that have helped you be a dad and husband?
Knowing what your limits are, or your kids' limits. Because I've always been a big hunter.
Yeah.
And it's nothing for me used to be, now I'm a little older, to backpack in 5, 6, 7, 8 miles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I learned this lesson when Tristan was 12 and shot his first buck. I'd found this deer. This is general season, public ground, so you're working your butt off for him, right?
Yep.
Found a big buck. We had to hike in about 3.5 miles. We left about 3 a.m. Tristan was 12. And it was really thick. And I was pushing him a little hard. I said, there's other hunters in here. We got to get up there if you want this big buck. We have to. And he started puking. He's 12. And I finally looked at him and said, this is what I learned. I said, Tristan, this is your buck. If you don't want to go in after it, we can turn around. It's fine. You make the decision right now. Because I couldn't leave him. I couldn't let him go. We're in 2 miles already.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a tag. I wanted the buck. But you know what? If you let them make their decisions, even if they fail, and teach them to learn from that. And I let him make the decision on that, which was a big decision. We've been watching that buck for 3 weeks. And he said, I want to go. I want to go get him. And so I usually have my kids hold on to my backpack on the back and kind of drag them up, which helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that with my daughters too.
Yeah.
So we went in there and he got that buck. And it's a big buck. I mean, he made a long shot too, like almost 700-yard shot.
Wow.
So that was a great lesson. Just, I'm going to let him make the decision. I just wanted to grab him and say, come on, let's go. But I'm like, that's not going to help. So I just let him make that decision. And I believe 90% of the time they're going to make the right decision. It's going to come from their heart. And he knew he could do it.
I'm sure you've heard the analogy of the helicopter parents where they just hover over their kids.
Right.
I think that's pretty detrimental because a lot of times the parents do want to just make the decision. I'm so anxious to make sure that Lincoln is prosperous in this life, has success in this life, finds happiness in this life.
Right.
And I've made a lot of mistakes, so I want to make the decision for him because I know what's right. But hearing that from you,
you know what, that is great what you said, because believe me, I've done that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how difficult is it to just step back and let them make their decision? Because watching your kids fail, it makes me sick thinking about that.
It's hard. It's the hardest thing in parenting, period. End of story. It is. Because we've been there and we've done that.
Did your parents let you fail?
Yeah. They did. And when I made some stupid decisions when I was younger. I mean, I'm going to be totally honest here. I got in jail. And I called my mom. I had a phone call, right?
Oh, man.
She asked me what I was there for, and I told her. She said, well, you can rot there. Yeah,
that's
so
rock bottom, man.
Yeah. Oh,
Hearing that from your mom.
Brutal. I'm like, I remember the officer looking at me and goes, I go, well, I guess I'm staying the night.
So she didn't come to save you?
Nope. And he goes, well, you won't be staying the night if somebody doesn't come get you. You'll be staying until you have a court date. I'm like, are you kidding me? So my wife, girlfriend at the time, came and got me the next day. Yeah, so they definitely let me fail. Did I learn from that? Yes, I did. Never been there again.
So from an outside observation, just, being able to observe your family and stuff, you guys are, it's rare what you guys have, how close you are, how much time you spend together. Give me some tips on how you've been able to do that and not have so much contention and drama that people just stop coming to activities.
Right. You know what? We've just been tight like that. We were always sat down and had dinner. Period.
Like your kids or like
kids? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like every night?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yep. Now, they're all moved out now, but we still do have Sunday dinner almost every week with Jessica's parents and the whole family. So yeah, we're tight.
But it's not only that. I mean, it's like holidays. You guys have your deer camp. You're camping all the time. Like,
Yep.
you don't drive each other crazy?
Sometimes, but then we laugh about it,
Okay.
right?
So that's the key. Forgive and forget, laugh.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I like it. Um, Talk to me a little bit about your experience, or I guess your hobby. I don't know what to call it, but you do like energy work.
Reiki. Yes.
So explain to me what that is and what the benefits are and how you got into it.
Okay. Reiki it's a Japanese energy healing therapy is what it is. Okay.
Okay.
Been around for over 100 years. And when my brother got killed in his car wreck, they called us the Duke Boys. I was blonde. He was dark. We didn't raise any hell, though. I don't know why they called us Duke Boys.
It's not what I've heard.
No, we were really, really close, okay? Really close.
Yeah.
We had a construction company together when we were young, built homes. And even for that, we worked at the same places and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We did. We were just really close. So we've always, maybe that's what I found, Jessica has a real close family. Corey and I were close. And, when he passed, I know it happens. And then we took his kids. And I had a lot of anger and grief over that.
Yeah.
I was pissed. He's only 32. I was 30. What happened? Why? He had kids, And so I actually went through a pretty dark time for years. Didn't know it. And then my wife said, maybe you should go have some Reiki. I'm like, what's that? And this was in 2018. So this was like 17 years after. It's been a long time. I'm like, okay. I went there and had a Reiki session. And I really liked it. And the lady who gave me Reiki told my wife that he doesn't know it, but he needs to do Reiki. He was meant to do Reiki. And so the next time I had a session with her, she told me that. Jessica didn't tell me. She told me that. And I thought my reaction would be, why me?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, what do I do? She goes, you just need to get certified. And so she helped me find somebody that did that in Orem. And then I got, it was like a month, about 3 months later, I started doing it myself. And then did it for 4 years. So there's different levels of Reiki, okay? You can take all these classes and learn.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got my master's in April.
Okay.
So, and the benefits of Reiki. So you can have stuck energy in your body, okay? I help move energy out of people's bodies. I mean, it can help with emotional pain, even physical pain. Can relax people, help anxiety. I love it. And I'm even more love helping people. I've helped a lot of people.
Do you feel like you're serving?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Do you feel like it gives you a purpose beyond like work and family and, the everyday stuff?
Yeah. And it's, and just the energy of it. I've helped people that have had it sounds crazy, but it's not. Like I had one person that couldn't even move their finger. And they said, I went through a real dark time in my life like a year ago. When I went through that, I cannot move. My pinky will not move. And I'd only been doing Reiki for maybe a year. I don't even think that long. I said, well, she goes, can I get on your table and have a session and see if you can move? Because she believes in the energy work, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, let's try it. Did it. And then next day, she showed up to the house and was like, I can move with Pinky. It moves. The energy moved. So yeah, it's pretty.
So through your experiences with energy work and Reiki and all that, what else have you learned about energy, just in general?
Just energy in general.
Like, can you pick up on somebody with, how people say, hey, bad vibes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What is it like? What?
It's just, I don't know. You can just feel it almost.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can just feel it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, you don't have to look at the person. You can just walk in a room almost and be like, what's that?
Something's off.
Yeah, something's off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like something's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to flip flop the question now, positive, same thing.
Yes.
You can pick up.
Yep. Absolutely. And
So are you constantly reading people as you meet new people, have new connections, first impressions?
Oh yeah.
Do you walk away and you're like,
it's always an energy thing, it doesn't lie.
Yeah.
But what I've learned in the last probably year is that you can take on an energy.
Right.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, yeah.
So I have a theory behind all this with energy and stuff. I personally believe that kids can mirror, or they do mirror, their parents' energy, because when I react in anger to something, it escalates the situation. But when I take 10 seconds to calm down, I get on my child's level and speak to him calmly.
Yep.
It de-escalates. I think they're like sponges, and it can work out really well for your benefit, or it can just explode and be really bad.
Well, also there can be a generation of like energy. I mean, that can come through the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. And the thing about kids, like little kids, they read energy almost better than anybody.
Yeah.
They do.
Naturally,
yes.
Do we lose the ability?
Yeah. I mean, it's just because they're not thinking about it. They're just, how you walk up to sometimes a little kid and just maybe not like somebody,
Mm-hmm.
but then they'll run up to somebody else and like hug them.
Yeah. I've heard kids and dogs.
I was going to say dogs because I'm a big dog lover.
Yep.
And this is funny because I've done this with my daughters. They bring a new boy home, and I go, "Come out with me. You need to meet Boomer and Cooper, my labs." Why? Well, if they like you, you're good. If they don't like you, then maybe not so good.
Yeah, that's a great gauge.
It is.
Have you been able to apply these skills, or how else have you been able to apply this knowledge into your life, into your relationships, being a dad, being a husband? How does it benefit you?
I think with being a dad and a husband, it makes you more of a people person too. I mean, because you got to deal with a lot of stuff when you're a husband and a father, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think it helps you navigate through life better. I mean, it brings up things, right? You learn how to. I mean, we had some tough things with our kids, Definitely.
Yeah.
And it definitely teaches you. Yeah.
Gotcha. In your opinion, is it easier to be a father to young kids or adult kids?
Young kids.
Really? Don't tell me
Well,
that.
hold on. Adults, now that they're adults, I think it has its challenges both ways.
Okay, how so?
I think the young kids, now if you were to rephrase that question, a young kid or a teenager, teenagers by far are
Really?
harder.
Okay, noted.
Well, they know everything. You don't have a teenager yet, do
I
you?
don't.
Be prepared.
In my mind, I'm going to have a
They don't
teenager.
have a manual for it.
In my mind, they're going to love me and we're going to go dirt bike and hunt together and all that, But I know it's going to be hard. So if I'm in the easy stage right now, you got me a little worried.
So how old are your kids again?
3 and 8 weeks.
You're in such an easy stage. Three is my favorite age.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. He's hard, but man, he's easy.
So I have 3 grandkids now.
Yep.
From my brother's daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a papa. Not a grandpa, but a papa. And what are they? 2, maybe just over 2. And one's just over 3. And 5. I really like age 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of them are out of
fun.
diapers, right? It's a little easier.
Yeah. And they're starting to think you're cool.
Well, yeah. 3-year-old, that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. What's a lesson that you've learned in fatherhood that you may not have learned otherwise?
What have I learned in fatherhood that I've not learned otherwise? That's a loaded question. The thing that pops in my head is I've learned how to support. Not me telling them what to do or you need to do this, you need to do that. Don't you want to have your life go this way? Just support them what they want to do. That's probably my biggest thing is support.
Do you feel like that concept of support has changed in the last few generations? Because I may be wrong, but generations before us had expectations, right? Like my generation, maybe a little bit older, it was like, go to college. If you want to be successful in life, you go to college, you get an education, right? And maybe the generation before that was get some skilled labor or join the military, whatever these expectations are. But now I do feel like we are starting to go into this, hey, just support your kids, right?
Right.
Is there anything that could go wrong in that?
No. Yeah, it's funny you bring up the college thing. Because that was kind of in my generation too when I was younger. It was. Yeah. I actually went to college for a month and I'm like, I just got out of high school. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just went and started learning trades. Doing masonry work and then eventually got into framing, and that's when after I learned all that stuff, I started building homes.
Mm-hmm. And you're probably better off than going to 4 years of college anyway.
I think I was.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So if you're able to have a 5-minute conversation with 25-year-old Kelly, what do you tell him?
Kelly, I've been married for 2 years. I would probably just tell them to relax. 'Cause, I haven't had any kids yet. Been 2 years. It'll be 2 years. I had my first kid. And then follow your dream. Follow your heart. Follow it.
Do you feel like you've done that?
Yeah, I think it took me a little while.
Yeah.
When I started learning all the trades, and I'm like, I'm going to get my contractor's license. Till my 25, yeah, that's what I'd say. Follow your heart. Follow your dream. Go after it.
Awesome.
Because a dream's not going to come after you.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Was it to get where you're at, to get to where you're at in life now, was it as much work as you expected?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, to wrap up this podcast, I ask all my guests the same question. And that is, if you're going to leave your kids with one lesson when you're no longer here, what is that lesson?
Live every day like it's your last, because you never know.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the podcast, sharing your thoughts, experiences, and stories, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome.